Happy Sunday, leaders. I hope each of you were able to take some time yesterday to kind of disconnect from technology and computers and spend some time either outdoors with your family, etc. So I wanted to bring us back to our communication anchors. As you can see, we have several different inputs that are occurring with communication with families, students, and then you all as leaders as well. These communication anchors are going to prove to be very important over the next few weeks, as we know that the school closure extension and the distance learning has extended now at least through April the 20th. So these communication anchors are going to continue to be important. It's going to be continually important to make sure that we're checking in on our systems and structures that we have for this communication. So, speaking of communication anchors, I want to share with you all that our families and students are very appreciative of the energy that you all have put into connecting with your Care and Connect students. A lot of our parents have been very appreciative of the phone calls. And we've also seen some really unique and creative ways for Care and Connects to connect. So we've seen Google Meets occurring with Care and Connects, Kahoot competitions, Snapchat check-ins, lots of different ways to connect with our students. As you all know, we will not be seeing our Care and Connects in person at least for the next month. So continue to explore with your Care and Connect. What are some ways that you all want to stay connected? What are some ways that you want to stay in contact? What are some ways that you want to go back to maybe some of your storylines throughout the next month or so? I think one thing we can also, keep in our minds are while we have called to check in about resources earlier this week, as you're connecting with your Care and Connect, it will be important to maintain that contact about resources. As you all know, many businesses have closed their doors because of COVID-19. So, some of our students may have parents that work in the service industry, such as salons or barbershops or hospitality or restaurants, and their jobs could have potentially been shut, closed. Their jobs could have potentially have reduced hours, etc. So really, we're going to see the needs of our students evolve over the next few weeks. Right now, they might have internet, they might have groceries, but as when your wages are reduced, internet might be the thing to go so that you can buy groceries, etc. So it'll be important to keep a pulse on this over the next few weeks. So I'd like to bring you all back to our distance learning hub. This is going to continue to be an important living slide that we will continue to add in different resources towards. I think John made a joke on, I guess it was Friday, a week ago, where he said, nobody taught us how to do this. This wasn't in the first days of school book. You're not going to look at any education book to say, how do you shift from in-person teaching to online teaching in 72 hours? There's no quick answers to this. So I think us maintaining this learning hub is going to be important, making sure that we have those quick links in one spot for you all, but also making sure that we are sharing with one another in our resource bank, because we're all learning from this process. I think we could all say that, in some ways we feel like first year teachers again. For your first year teachers, I'm sure this has been a whole new experience for you all, hopefully something you never have to experience again. So going back to some of these systems and structures that we're updating daily and a weekly basis, I want to thank you all for getting in your grade books on the tracker sheets. We know that there's an element of compliance that the state is going to ask for, especially with this very unique situation. So we appreciate you all getting those things on that tracker. As a reminder, please make sure that your lesson slides and any updates to your slide on the communication anchors is updated by today at 4 p.m. so we can push that out to our families. And I also wanted to touch base with you all a little bit about the Google Meets. So we've gotten some good feedback from you all around what's been working with Google Meets, what has not been working with Google Meets. We've got some great ideas going as far as making sure that they're staying fresh. We had somebody suggest that you have guest speakers still in your Google Meet, or there's no reason why community members can't still join your Google Meet. I know that attendance to these Google Meets have been up and they've been down, and they've been kind of in lots of different places. We know that the age group that we serve are in a very unique time as well. And some students are serving as caretakers for their siblings or for their neighbors right now while their parents are trying to go to work or their neighbors are trying to work. Also our local businesses are in very unique spots, and some of them have been called to work a little earlier than normal. And we've been working with the chamber to make sure that does not happen very often. But we need to make sure we're flexible with this. We've done some talking in the leadership team and thinking about how we might reformulate the schedule of Google Meets, reformulate some ways of accountability, etc. So while my original intention was to roll it out to you all today, we know that the governor announced that we would be closed at least through April 20th. And that's going to take us as a district really thinking through over the next couple of days of what these supports are going to look like for students. We know that the plan we have in place is really thinking about into over a couple weeks span, but not necessarily, 5, 6, 7 weeks or longer. So stay tuned with that. We're exploring some different options as far as what learning can look like, what supports can look like for students. It's not going to be a quick answer, and none of this is a quick answer, and that's okay. Just please know that, we are having to evolve as quickly as these closures are evolving, these circumstances are evolving. We're learning from the process, and we're coming together with lots of different folks in the district to explore what might be best for our students and for you all. And we really appreciate your all's flexibility. I know that this has been a lot to take in and crank out and turn around, provide support, but you all have just been awesome and rocking it out. So speaking of rocking it out, I want to kind of bring us back to somebody who always rocks it out when we think about community, which is Peter Block. So Peter Block has a quote, and it says, "We are a community of possibilities, not a community of problems. Community exists for the sake of belonging and takes its identity from the gifts, generosity, and accountability of its citizens. It is not defined by its fears, its isolation, or its penchant for retribution. We currently have all the capacity, expertise, programs, leaders, regulations, and wealth required to end unnecessary suffering and create an alternative future." So this quote to me rings more true than ever as our community is facing this for the very first time, and we as educators are facing this for the very first time and thinking about possibilities and opportunities, and really like what we all have to bring to the table to make sure that we are supporting one another, because at the end of the day, our community's role is to support one another. And there's also a mention of like isolation in this quote, which is interesting because we are in a state of isolation, but we do not have to remain isolated. There are ways for us to connect. So speaking of gifts and generosity, we have a few leaders that have stepped up to really make sure that we're connecting with our community still. So twice this week, we'll have an opportunity to connect. Mr. Harrison will be leading us in a virtual workout at 2 p.m. So this will be posted on our Facebook. I encourage you all to join as well. It's going to be something that the whole family can do. So if you are at home with children right now and they need to burn some energy, and it's raining outside, this would be a great opportunity for that to happen. So thank you, Jonathan, for making that happen for us. We're really looking forward to different ways that we can connect together. We also have an opportunity led by our performing arts leaders, Ms. Rucci and Mr. Hoyes, and thinking about a sidewalk chalk challenge on Wednesday. So that will not be a Google Live meet, but it will be an opportunity for you to get creative, either on your own or with your family, and think about ways that we can share our art and connect with one another while we are apart right now. I think these opportunities are a great example of how we can kind of create some new routines and structures for ourselves. We know that, with our routines so disrupted by this new normal, it's going to be important for us to find, a routine that does work for us. So I do want to recommend that you all find a routine in this new way, and making sure that we're still getting up at the same time, getting ready at the same time. There's things that help keep us mentally well. And I want to bring us back to this symbol of caretaking in the middle of this slide here. So when we think about caretaking, this is going to be the ultimate form of caretaking for our students in our community, and it's got a lot of challenges. But I just want to show some appreciation for you all. This has been a very humbling experience, I think, for us all and for our community. And I appreciate the heart and the care that you all have put into your work. and connecting and one another. So thank you all so much. Take care of yourselves, each other in this place. Go Generals.